Blake Lively has filed a legal complaint against her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni, accusing him of inappropriate harassment and a subsequent smear campaign from WME Agency amid Blake Lively's sexual harassment lawsuit. Blake Lively is with the same agency, and they have decided to not drop her. Blake Lively alleges that Justin Baldoni engaged in inappropriate and unwelcome behavior on set, including unwanted kissing, discussing his sex life, and making inappropriate comments. She also claims that Justin Baldoni and a producer, Jamie Heath, shared their own personal sexual experiences without consent and showed not safe for work videos or images of women to Lively and her employees. Blake Lively further alleges that after she and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, addressed these issues in a meeting, Justin Baldoni and his team launched a multi-tiered plan to damage her reputation. Legal action. Lively has filed a legal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, which is a step before filing a lawsuit. The complaint names Justin Baldoni, his studio Wayfarer Studios, and his publicists as defendants. According to legal documents, Blake Lively had concerns about Justin Baldoni even before filming began, alleging disagreements over his attempts to include unnecessary nudity and adult scenes in the film. Tensions escalated during production, leading to a human resources meeting where Justin Baldoni and his studio, Wayfarer, agreed to certain conditions for Lively to resume filming after the writers' strike. Subsequently, before August 2nd, Justin Baldoni brought on crisis management expert Melissa Nathan, a former representative of Johnny Depp, to join his PR team, which also included publicist Jennifer Abel. Subpoenaed text messages included in the lawsuit reveal communications between these women, including one instance where Nathan reportedly stated she could bury anyone. Further complicating matters, older interviews depicting Lively's interactions with reporters, which some interpreted as rude, circulated widely on social media. Subsequently, text messages revealed in the lawsuit suggest that Baldoni's crisis management team may have orchestrated a campaign to discredit her. Blake Lively's lawsuit alleges that Justin Baldoni made inappropriate comments, including inquiries about her weight, remarks about her deceased father, and sexual comments directed at the cast and crew, which she demanded stop. While the studio reportedly agreed to address the alleged issues, the film's release was further complicated by a disagreement between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni regarding marketing strategies, according to the lawsuit. Public observation of their strained interactions at red carpet events fueled speculation about a rift between the two. Lively further alleges that Justin Baldoni's team subsequently launched a campaign of social manipulation to damage her reputation. The complaint, filed before a potential lawsuit, names Baldoni, his production company Wayfarer Studios, his publicist Heath, and a crisis public relations manager, among others, as defendants. Lively, who also served as a producer on the film, states that she seeks to set the record straight, to hold the Wayfarer parties and associates accountable, and to shine a light on this new form of retaliation so that it will not be used against any others who seek to stand up and speak out against the harassment, according to the complaint. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni bombshell lawsuit, text messages leaked to the public. Listen to this text message. "You know we can bury anyone, but I can't write that to him. It will be very tough." Another message read, "Imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands." Here is another leaked text message. "Having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week about how horrible Blake is to work with." That text was from Justin Baldoni's publicist, Jennifer Abel. There are many leaked texts that how the crisis management team scrambled to try and shift the narrative. Blake Lively's team claims that text messages were submitted as part of the legal complaint that was filed to the California Civil Rights Department, and it demonstrate a multi-tiered plan acknowledged by Justin Baldoni and his team as a social manipulation intended to destroy Blake Lively's reputation. This alleged scheme, according to her team, was initiated following her expression of concerns about onset conditions. Also, Justin Baldoni brings up Taylor Swift during bombshell lawsuit by Blake Lively. Justin Baldoni's crisis team names Taylor Swift and her weaponization of feminism as part of a ploy to take down Blake Lively. We will also talk about shocking text messages that have been leaked out. We will get to that shortly. Allegations have surfaced that Justin Baldoni entered Blake Lively's trailer while she was undressed and allowed others to watch her. Is this all about to be the next Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case? What do you guys think? Do you guys believe Justin Baldoni or Blake Lively? Prior to August 2nd, Justin Baldoni engaged crisis management expert Melissa Nathan, whose previous clients include Johnny Depp, to join his public relations team. This team also included publicist Jennifer Abel. Blake Lively's team claims in legal documents that a staff meeting was held on January 4th to address a hostile work environment that almost shut down the film's production. The question is, how much of these concerns did the film production know about but continued anyway? The meeting reportedly included Justin Baldoni, as well as Jamie Heath, CEO of Baldoni's production company, Wayfarer Studios, and a producer on It Ends With Us. So this sounds like a very serious meeting. The lawsuit alleges that Justin Baldoni showed Blake Lively nude videos and images of other women. He discussed his intense adult video addiction and made inappropriate comments about her weight, her late father, and other cast and crew members. One reported incident involved Justin Baldoni allegedly biting and sucking on Blake Lively's lower lip during multiple takes, reportedly insisting on reshooting the scene despite her apparent discomfort. The lawsuit also alleges that Justin Baldoni made inappropriate suggestive inquiries, including asking Lively very personal questions about what she and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, do in the bedroom. Adding to the alleged toxic environment, the film's producer, Jamie Heath, is also named in the lawsuit. It claims he pressured Lively to simulate a scene with no clothes on during a childbirth scene, despite previous agreements stipulating no nudity would be required. It was allegedly agreed that neither Jamie Heath nor Justin Baldoni would enter, attempt to enter, interrupt, pressure, or ask Blake Lively to enter her trailer or the makeup trailer while she was not wearing clothes. Absolutely insane that this had to be clarified, and that producers on the film knew about all of this going on behind the scenes. According to this lawsuit, Justin leaned in as himself, not in character, and slowly dragged his lips from her ear to her neck, saying, "It smells so good." When Blake objected to his actions, Justin allegedly retorted, "I'm not even attracted to you." After a January 2024 meeting with Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, producers, and Ryan Reynolds, Wayfarer Studios reportedly agreed to use an intimacy coordinator for all scenes involving nudity or simulated adult scenes. There was a bombshell text message that allegedly revealed that Justin Baldoni's crisis management team launched a smear campaign against Blake Lively. According to Blake's team, the messages included in the legal complaint expose a multi-tiered plan described by Justin and his team as a social manipulation aimed at destroying Blake's reputation. This alleged campaign, they claim, was initiated after Blake voiced concerns about on-set conditions. Blake Lively was very uncomfortable with many of the scenes, so she brought in her own editor during post-production, and her version of the film was chosen for release. It was reported that some crew members allegedly lost their jobs due to Blake Lively's insistence on creative control. Anticipating potential challenges during the marketing campaign, Wayfarer Studios strategically hired a crisis manager alongside their own representative. This proactive measure was taken due to Ms. Lively's disruptive behavior during production, which included threats to boycott filming and promotion, ultimately jeopardizing the film's success. Furthermore, it was revealed that Ms. Lively, through her representative Leslie Sloan, who also represents Mr. Reynolds, orchestrated the dissemination of negative and entirely fabricated stories in the media even before the film's marketing campaign began. This further compelled Wayfarer Studios to proactively engage a crisis professional to develop internal contingency plans to address potential negative publicity. A forensic review commissioned by Blake Lively from a brand marketing consultant revealed a significant increase in negative media coverage and online commentary following the film's release, suggesting that efforts to tarnish her public image may have been successful. Blake Lively had a significant career trajectory, had achieved substantial fame through her role in the television series Gossip Girl. This early success propelled her into a diverse range of film projects, from The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants to The Town. Beyond her acting career, Blake Lively has successfully built multiple businesses, graced the covers of numerous high-profile magazines, and amassed a substantial social media following of over 45 million on Instagram. According to her legal complaint, Ms. Lively expressed concerns about Justin Baldoni from the outset of the project. Prior to filming, she objected to the inclusion of certain adult scenes that she deemed gratuitous. The August 6th premiere of the film coincided with the emergence of press coverage speculating about behind-the-scenes tensions. A Hollywood Reporter article explored the possibility of a rift between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, citing observations from TikTok users who noted the absence of joint photographs between the two stars and the lack of Instagram followership between Blake Lively and other cast members and the director. There has been a wave of online criticism targeting Blake Lively. The extent to which this negative publicity was orchestrated by Justin Nathan, Mr. Wallace, and their team, or simply observed and amplified by them, remains unclear. During the height of the Me Too movement, Justin Baldoni publicly advocated for a reevaluation of traditional masculinity in Hollywood, acknowledging the harmful impact of certain male behaviors. So, this is coming as a shock for Justin Baldoni fans. Justin Baldoni co-hosts the Webby Award-nominated podcast Man Enough with writer Liz Plank. The podcast aims to create a safe space for open and honest discussions about masculinity, welcoming a diverse range of perspectives. In an Instagram post about an event that tries to spread awareness and to stop domestic violence, Baldoni wrote that, "My hope is that we can teach our boys while they are still young that vulnerability is strength, sensitivity is a superpower, and empathy makes them powerful." He also said, "Being a boy and a man is amazing and nothing to apologize for, and to value all the beautiful and complicated parts of them that make them human."
It ends with us in court. That's what the internet has coined this messy, seemingly never-ending movie drama, and with every passing day, a court date just seems more and more realistic, especially when one side is making public promises to sue the other party into oblivion with evidence. So that is where we are at with the It Ends With Us movie drama. It's been ongoing since August of last year, pretty much right when the movie landed in theaters. The last major update that we got from Blake Lively's side was that she had filed a very long lawsuit against co-star and director of the movie Justin Baldoni, the film's production company, the CEO, Jennifer Abel, and Melissa Nathan, who are Baldoni's publicist and crisis communications rep. First, she filed a complaint, and in that she accused Baldoni of SH on set, and then trying to destroy her reputation after the film was released by creating a calculated smear campaign. This comes after some texts were leaked from the women that Lively is suing, in which they discuss the inner workings of this alleged smear campaign against Lively. Now, Baldoni has countered, and literally right at the end of last year, December 31st, he sued the New York Times for $250 million for defamation because they ran an article in support of Lively. Lively filed her suit same day, the 31st, and now we're into the new year and Baldoni's legal representation has responded to that. They claim they are going to sue Blake Lively into oblivion and do so with a large amount of evidence. Not even just with a large amount of evidence. That is almost too tame compared to what Baldoni's lawyer, Ryan Friedman, actually said on the Megyn Kelly show on Wednesday. Mr. Friedman claimed that they were going to essentially release everything. Every text, every voice note, every receipt Baldoni's side has acquired. They are going to put it all on a website for the public to view. They want people to draw their own conclusions about everything. This is a pretty unique situation. It's rare that a celebrity feud involving such famous individuals would release all of their information like this. In situations like this one, cards are typically played pretty close to the chest. The public is on a strict need-to-know basis. Like, take everything with the "don't worry darling" situation, for example. That was huge drama, theories were flying and rumors were running rampant, and yet to this day, the public never got all the details. Florence Pugh never said anything about the alleged on-set antics. Sure, we got little crumbs of things here and there, some on-set stories and phone call receipts, but to literally have your team put every single piece of evidence up on the internet, like, what is about to happen here? The good, the bad, and the ugly, that's unheard of. It's messy and everything people have always wanted from their celebrity drama. Lawyer Friedman also suggested that they were even looking into suing other people close to Lively, like her husband, Ryan Reynolds. Why are we bringing him into this directly? It's actually because of Deadpool and Wolverine and the character Nicepool. If you didn't see the movie, in it there's a bunch of variants of the Deadpool character, and one is Nicepool. This is a brand new character, not even in the comics at all. He was basically just really nice, to the point where you wonder if he's actually nice. Footage of some of Nicepool's jokes that didn't make it into the movie have been said to poke fun at Baldoni and the It Ends With Us situation, with remarks about the character being like a fake feminist and things like that. So that is why Reynolds is being explicitly pulled in. There is also the nature of the allegations against Baldoni to take into account. The allegations against him are quite serious and the kind that you definitely don't want attached to your name in the long run, especially if you're not actually guilty of them. So in the event that he is telling the truth and he didn't harm Lively in any way, he would need serious proof. A website with every shred of possible evidence, every single message exchanged, even the ones that aren't the most flattering to you, that might be exactly the thing he needs to clear his name. One of the biggest complaints against Blake Lively that was then used in favor of Justin Baldoni was the manner in which she promoted the It Ends With Us movie. You might recall her famous audience call to action, "Grab your friends, wear your florals." Cute little sentence on its own that becomes significantly less cute when you remember that the movie is about DV. People called Lively's actions tone deaf and inappropriate, and just generally, the internet agreed that this was not the way to handle the movie promotion. She also frequently chatted about her hair care brand while the press tour was happening. Specific to that aspect of her press, people started roasting the actress online since they thought promoting dry shampoo for a film like this was pretty inappropriate. That quickly morphed into people attacking Lively's appearance, and in particular the actress's hair. Basically, many of the comments boiled down to people thinking Lively's hair wasn't nice enough in the film or even in real life to justify promoting a hair care brand on this tour. They tried to recreate Barbenheimer with It Ends With Us and Deadpool and Wolverine, but I fear the With Us crew failed to realize that they were the Oppenheimer of the equation. But hey, they couldn't have predicted everything. It's not like the book it's based on and the author have had years of pushback and controversies. The matter of the intimacy coordinator, though, and intimate scenes in It Ends With Us are a major talking point right now. For anyone who is unaware of the position intimacy coordinator, their job is to do what it says on the tin essentially and just coordinate any intimate scenes. This is done with the actors and director. The actors because they will be in the scene, obviously, and the director because they have a vision for the film that needs to be present. If you have stunts in a movie, you get someone trained to build those, someone who can make things look good on camera while making sure all parties are safe and respected, and it's the same for intimacy coordinators. The IC is also important because they are someone an actor can easily say no to. A big problem in the industry used to be that actors felt like they couldn't say no in situations like this because they would be saying it to the director's face, and that can be intimidating, especially for those just starting out or without a lot of power. It Ends With Us is unique since the director is also an actor in the scene, but the intimacy coordinator is still there to discuss boundaries with actors before anything even happens, and then you build from there. Here's the thing, ICs are definitely a newer position, their importance highlighted by the Me Too movement, so those that have been working in the industry pre 2015 are not as used to them as newer actors might be. ICs should be on set while the scene is being filmed. Intimate scenes today are generally closed sets, and that just means the only people in the room are those that actually need to be there. This is important because before this became the standard, sets could be accessed by almost anyone on the production, meaning that anyone could watch as long as they didn't hinder the process of filming. Suddenly, an actor isn't just performing this intimate moment for the director and a few crew members, but now a bunch of random people, and that's way more pressure. So the IC helps manage the closed sets so that no one sneaks in because they simply want a live show. In Blake Lively's recent filing against Baldoni, she included a 30-point list of demands that she had asked for during the filming process. It seems that things hadn't been going great on set, and in order for Lively to feel more comfortable to return, she needed these demands to be met. A screenshot of messages allegedly between Lively and Baldoni, and then Baldoni and a female producer, were released. Baldoni had sent a screenshot of a conversation he had with Blake. Their convo looks like Baldoni told Blake that he had just hired an intimacy coordinator and was going to set up an intro meeting for them. It sounds like this wasn't meant to be a choreography meetup, just something to meet each other, but Blake said that she was good to just meet the IC when they started production. Baldoni then sent this to the producer, expressing a concern that Blake meeting the IC later might mess up the workflow, but the producer said it was fine. So it sounds like Lively just didn't want to meet up before production officially started. But when it did start, Baldoni's side claims that Lively still refused to meet with the coordinator. This meant that instead of the coordinator being the liaison between actors and director, it was almost the opposite. He also alleged that he and Blake would meet in her penthouse to go over what was discussed at the meetings and write their scenes. If this is true, then it actually directly contradicts something Lively said back in August, when she mentioned how important it is that intimate moments be choreographed by an IC and how ridiculous it would be to leave that up to the actors. Now, an intimacy coordinator can simply just help build the scenes and that's it, but that's kind of only half their job. The other half, again, happens on the day when the cameras roll. We know that this movie had intimacy coordinators, Lizzie Talbot and Chelsea Carey. Lively and Baldoni talked about their importance months before all this drama even started. But from what I have gathered via Blake's suit, Baldoni's response, and their comments over the past few months, all this, following this sentence, is speculation and alleged. The IC was hired and the scenes would be choreographed offset in a meeting or meetings that Lively chose not to attend. At the beginning, when it came time to filming these scenes on the day, the IC was not present, and that is maybe when the unwelcome improv happened. This resulted in Lively requesting that the IC come onto set for filming, which the production had no issue with as they already were working with them offset. It's clear that the situation is wildly complicated and ever-changing. New details are definitely on the way, with the promise of a website containing every bit of proof about the film.
Oh my gosh. The script has literally flipped with all these stories about Blake Lively that came out months prior, because now she's filed a lawsuit towards Justin Baldoni for not only alleged inappropriate stunts on set, but for a supposed smear campaign. Alright, so where did this all come from? Apparently it was no secret that things weren't going so well between the two co-stars, or the rest of the cast. Based on the famous novel It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and the movie going up back in the month of August, a lot of public were noticing that the two of them were doing separate promotional stuff. Some of his fans were even wondering if his castmates were just straight up ignoring him, with a lot of them saying, literally, what is going on with the cast? Why is Justin doing all his promo by himself? Just coming to say I have no idea what happened, but I fully support Justin. The cast behavior seems so petty and does not make them look good. It's really sad he's not doing press with the others, as he's a main character. Many people have even noticed that some of the actors unfollowed him on Instagram. That's not until the past week that we finally got some alleged insight that gives us an answer as to why everyone was completely snubbing Justin. As of December 20th, Blake Lively has revealed to the public that she has filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni for being inappropriate with her on set and creating a hostile work environment. One interesting fact comes from her legal complaint team, which apparently had to have a meeting back in January 2024, even with her husband Ryan Reynolds in the room, and created a list of demands while working on the production with Justin. These included no more showing inappropriate videos or images of women to Blake, no more mention of Baldoni's alleged previous past intimate issues, no more discussions about intimate conquests in front of Blake and others, no further mentions of cast and crew's appearances, no more inquiries about Blake's weight, and no further mention of Blake's father who passed away. Blake also requested that there would be no additions outside of the script that had them become more intimate with each other. Sony Pictures had also agreed to these requests supposedly, and to have this be done during production. I'm really not surprised that this is now coming to light with the current lawsuit. Other instances that she claimed happened on set were her being shown unprompted videos of Baldoni's wife in an inappropriate manner while having a child. Blake Lively also states that he would enter her makeup trailer with another employee without being given the permission to do so, and even during a time when she was feeding her infant child. She not only felt she needed to create this lawsuit for herself, but for the other women who were also on set. One interesting interview as well started going viral on TikTok, where Blake was asked what it was like trying to build trust with Justin while doing these incredibly intense scenes, to which Blake completely avoided it by instead talking about the characters' relations to one another rather than the actors. Blake claims Baldoni was socially manipulating her with a specific campaign he did to quote-unquote destroy her reputation when everything was said and done. Ryan Reynolds has yet to say anything about the alleged meeting, but it has been reported that he unfollowed the actor and his production company just months before Blake set out the lawsuit against him. Clearly, something was going on for you to be unfollowed by Ryan Reynolds. What's even crazier is that apparently in her lawsuit, it states, as early as May 2024, Mr. Baldoni told his team that they needed a plan to get ahead of the claims against him in the event they were to go public. We will get into that shortly. Of course, Baldoni's team responded on his behalf, stating that they were nothing but lies. Was this the supposed plan? It is shameful that Miss Lively and her representatives would make such serious and categorically false accusations against Mr. Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and its representatives, as yet another desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation, which is garnered from her own remarks and actions during the campaign for the film, interviews and press activities that were observed publicly, in real time, and unedited, which allowed for the internet to generate their own views and opinions. Apparently, as stated before, Blake is going after him for the alleged smear campaign that he was trying to attempt. This was apparently being created right after the meeting in January, claiming the intended result of a carefully crafted, coordinated, and resources retaliatory scheme to silence her, and others from speaking out about the hostile environment that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath created. Their goal was to, which is quoted by a publicist working with Baldoni, to make her feel like she can be buried. Melissa Nathan, who is supposed supposedly a crisis management expert, even states, "You know we can bury anyone," who has reportedly in the past worked with Johnny Depp and the rappers Drake and Travis Scott. Alleged texts have been leaked as well that they were originally sent sometime in May of this year, supposedly showing that there was indeed planning that went down. The text exchange was with Miss Abel, another publicist who worked with him, reinstating what I had said prior, with Baldoni's word-for-word text saying, "We should have a plan for her if she does the same when the movie comes out. Plans make me feel more at ease." Even fast forwarding to August, he managed to retain Miss Nathan, who had worked with Johnny Depp on his case against Amber Heard, to help him with this one. Miss Nathan, in terms of the planning, suggested that they went with media talking points, focusing on how Blake Lively had an issue with power imbalances while she supposedly tried to take creative control over the film. In a text that was supposedly sent to both Miss Abel and Heath, he stated, "Not in love with the document Miss Nathan had sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call." Basically saying, "I need more dirt on this girl to really keep it overshadowing any claims she'll come out with." Miss Abel had sent over some of his words to Miss Nathan with some frustrating sentences, including, "I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried." To which Miss Nathan responded with, "Of course, but you know when we send over documents, we can't send over the work we will or could do because that can get us in a lot of trouble. We can't write, 'We will destroy her.' Imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands." I don't know if the write and destroy message was a typo, and I don't want to assume or put words in the messages of a lawyer. 3 days after this exchange, Baldoni had sent Miss Abel a social media thread about another celebrity being slammed for alleged bullying, which had gained over 19 million views. He supposedly wrote in the message, "This is what we would need," in response to potentially smear campaigning Blake Lively. After this idea was shown, Miss Nathan then proposed an idea to create full social account takedowns by hiring contractors to take over the online world and create theory threads that could shift the narrative all onto Blake. She would state, "All of this will be most importantly untraceable," then quickly began working with Mr. Wallace, who is someone that was supposedly well versed in opaque crisis managements, and has reportedly worked with Paramount Pictures and YouTube celebrity Aiden Ross. His now deleted LinkedIn profile has stated that he was a hired person with a proprietary formula for defining artists and trends. As mentioned prior, Justin was well aware of all the worries and complaints speculating that the cast wasn't following one another, with a message from him supposedly stating, "The unfollow situation is what everyone is pointing at, seemingly that something is much bigger under the surface as to why they would all unfollow." His tag PR executive quickly responded with, "We've flagged it to Jed and his team as well." They did their best to try and push stories away from the limelight of Justin Baldoni's behavior, but of course though, the attorney for Wayfarer, Justin's company, would go on to state that their public relations representative did nothing proactive nor retaliate towards Lively, and used this part of her lawsuit to say this was another desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation. Despite the alleged texts that are shown about Justin talking about creating this smear campaign, whatever went down eventually worked, because just days after the film's release, her reputation completely dropped. People only were then focusing on how she's promoted the film, how certain interviews she wasn't taking seriously, and all the bad press we've been getting about her was all that the public was seeing. Miss Nathan apparently had also stated he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now, with one allegedly shocking message going, "All press is so overwhelming, we've confused the people so much, mixed messaging. It's actually really funny if you think about it." So much has come out that nobody really knows which articles were created or written by them, or ones that they just simply took and blew them up even more. I'm even confused trying to write and organize the script. Meanwhile, during this month, Baldoni was honored at a star-studded event that helped create men who elevate women, combat gender-based issues, and promote gender equality worldwide. I don't know what it is with celebrities and having their stories be so neck-breaking, but I guess that's the price we pay when we're only given information out in snippets at a time. Blake Lively's lawsuit allegations are insane, especially when you hear about the crazy demands she had to make while working with Justin Baldoni. What secrets will they spill for us today? If you haven't been keeping up with the news recently, Blake Lively has gone for a lawsuit against her co-star Justin Baldoni as of this week. Her two biggest complaints in the file were his inappropriate behavior on set, as well as him planning a smear campaign behind her back to make sure her complaints would be hidden under articles upon articles of negative feedback about her. Starting back all the way in January 4th of this year, there was an all-hands meeting that had taken place right after the guild strike was lifted that involved Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and allegedly Ryan Reynolds as they went through an extensive list of demands and requests from Lively about the hostile work environment that nearly derailed the production of the film. The several big ones that stuck out to the public out of the list of 30 were no more showing inappropriate videos or images of women, including producer's wife, to Blake and/or employees. No more mentions of past issues regarding adult media consumption or lack thereof with Blake. No more discussions about intimate, personal lives, some of which regarded as non-consensual. No more intimate discussions about your own body. No more mention by Mr. Baldoni of him speaking to Lively's deceased father. No more improvisations of intimate scenes during filming. All actors participating with Lively in intimate scenes must be classified as active working actors, not friends of the director or producers. No more entering, attempting to enter, interrupt, pressuring or asking Lively to enter her trailer or the makeup trailer by Heath or Mr. Baldoni when she isn't ready for any reason. No more private, multi-hour meetings in Lively's trailer with Mr. Baldoni crying, with no outside Lively appointed representative to monitor. There are some on the list as well that I wasn't able to get into due to censorship reasons, but I think just based on that list alone, you get the idea of where it was headed towards. Getting into only some details of the events as to why this list transpired in the first place, since I don't have the time to go through a 70-page lawsuit. To quote, Mr. Baldoni ignored well-established industry protocols in filming intimate scenes and exploited the lack of controls on set to behave appropriately. Justin's company Wayfarer did not adhere to the rules of the Screen Actors Guild when creating the safe environment needed when actors are quote-unquote placed in uniquely vulnerable situations. Justin allegedly improvised intimate scenes with Lively without her knowing prior or an intimacy director involved, and would discreetly do things with her while they were being intimate, and would insist on shooting the full scene over and over again, well beyond what would have been required on an ordinary set, as per the lawsuit claims. There was also an instance where Justin and Lively were dancing in a scene with no sound being added, and supposedly at a character he had said, "It smells so good." When Lively addressed this with a few other questionable acts, he went, "I'm not even attracted to you." The improvised intimate scenes 29B. This is where things get graphic. The full lawsuit is online somewhere, so if you want to continue reading it, be my guest, because I need to shorten, censor, and cut out even most of these. One situation on set was reported where Lively was requested and insisted by Baldoni and Heath to go through a labor scene while being, well, not in her hospital gown. Baldoni apparently had even requested his best friend to play the role of an OBGYN, rather than hiring a proper actor to do it. Mr. Heath then apparently showed Lively a video of what they were trying to go for, which was a video of Heath's own wife, and Lively was absolutely baffled that she was even shown that. A shocking conversation is also reported in the lawsuit of apparently one time when Lively and Justin were in a car together. He was discussing his not so great past relationships. To which he goes, "Did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No." And tried to reason the fact that the relationship was a learning experience for him. I get that, but not something you share openly with a castmate you barely know. The driver, after she exited the car, stated they did not want Blake to be alone with Baldoni after that. Again, all alleged. To end off the segment with two more quick stories, it was reported that Lively one time was wearing a low-cut dress to assist better with feeding, but had covered it up with a coat. There was a moment where the jacket had opened up slightly, to which Baldoni made a comment about how he liked her outfit, to which she didn't appreciate. Later that day, when she was already in her pre-approved outfit for a scene, still wearing a jacket, Baldoni would persist in asking her to remove the jacket in a crowded room so that everyone could see her outfit. That apparently had inappropriate sections to it. He would allegedly comment, "I think you look attractive," to which Blake quickly responded with, "That's not what I'm going for," to which he also replied with, "I'm sorry, hot. Blake Lively tried to shut it down with, "Not that either," and Baldoni had the last word by saying, "I guess I missed the HR meeting." What an absolute mess if this is all true. You just don't joke about HR rules when you're doing a very sensitive movie topic. The supposed trailer incidents. The first one is about Mr. Heath's entry, to which he insisted to go into Blake's makeup trailer when she wasn't ready to see anyone. He threatened with the fact that if he wasn't allowed to do so, no meeting would happen at all. She allowed him in as long as he kept his back towards her and the makeup crew, but had discovered he did not keep his word. Calling him out, Mr. Heath tried to cover it with the fact that he liked to look at people when he was talking to them. Mr. Baldoni and Heath did this again while she was trying to feed her child, when she clearly stated that she would not be disrupted during this time. Amongst the allegations, Blake's has been given support by plenty of people throughout this process. The first support I will mention comes from her co-stars from the movie Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Actor Amber Tamblyn would post on her Instagram, "As Blake's sisters and friends for over 20 years, we stand with her in solidarity as she fights back against the reported campaign waged to destroy her reputation." Throughout the filming of It Ends With Us, we saw her summon the courage to ask for a safe workplace for herself and colleagues on set, and we were appalled to read the evidence of a premeditated and vindictive effort that ensued to discredit her voice. Even the author of the book, Colleen Hoover, stood with Lively, saying on her X post, "You have been nothing but honest, kind, and supportive and patient since the day we met. Thank you for being exactly the human that you are. Never change, never wilt." Director Paul Feig, who worked on A Simple Favor, said, "I've now made 2 movies with Blake, and all I can say is she is one of the most professional, creative, collaborative, talented, and kind people I've ever worked with. She truly did not deserve any of this smear campaign against her. I think it's awful she was put through this." Included in her hefty lawsuit, Blake Lively supposedly posted all the leaked screenshots exposing Justin and his team on planning behind her back to create a smear campaign to keep all her allegations beneath the surface. This starts with a text exchange supposedly on May 17th, 2024, between Baldoni and his publicist Miss Abel, stating, "We should have a plan for if she does the same when the movie comes out. Just want you guys to have a plan. Plans make me feel more at ease." This was supposedly after he realized Ryan Reynolds, Lively's husband, unfollowed him as well. And with the obvious fact that no one was following him, Miss Abel texted Heath stating, "We can't have fans starting to guess why Justin is left out of this stuff." One of the ideas that they were coming up with as to why this would be the case was to blame his neurodivergence, and anything he did that was deemed weird or awkward was because of it. As someone who is neurodivergent, no. They then brought Melissa Nathan, a crisis manager who worked on Johnny Depp's case, into the picture. Melissa has suggested they use online media to get ahead of the narrative by hiring people to engage in any bad press that might come up about Lively and fuel it with so much engagement that it becomes viral and unclickable. For some reason though, Baldoni didn't find that this was enough, stating, "Not in love with the document they sent, not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call." Justin had sent Abel a screenshot with another idea of what they could create, such as a link regarding a female celebrity who went viral for bullying. He stated, "This is what we would need." Then came the idea for Melissa to start threading theories with her own stories. "All of this will be most importantly untraceable," she wrote. It worked! And a little too well, because no one knows what was fueled or created by them. Miss Nathan would supposedly also leave a very concerning message of, "We survived. All the press is so overwhelming. We confused people. So much mixed messaging. It's actually really funny when you think about it."
These are some of Blake Lively's most humiliating moments caught on camera. Blake turned a personal dispute into a history lesson, and it did not go as planned. During the filming of It Ends With Us, Blake found herself in a messy situation with producer Jamie. She claimed he made her uncomfortable by holding eye contact for too long while she was nursing her baby in her trailer. That alone had people talking, but things really took a turn when Blake compared the incident to historical injustices against black men. Let's just say not everyone saw the connection. Legal experts and industry insiders weighed in, with many arguing that the comparison was unnecessary and took focus away from the actual concern. Some questioned why she continued the meeting if she felt uncomfortable, while others pointed out that no physical or verbal wrongdoing had been reported. Meanwhile, Jamie's legal team called the situation a misunderstanding that had been blown out of proportion. What started as a serious discussion on personal boundaries quickly became a full-blown debate on history, responsibility, and public perception. In the end, Blake didn't just lose control of the narrative. she walked straight into a buzz of her own making. Next time, maybe just keep it about the eye contact. Blake and Ryan turned SNL into their personal roast session, and it backfired. At Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary special, Blake and Ryan sat front and center. But it wasn't just for the nostalgia. During a skit, Ryan made a sly joke about Justin, Blake's It Ends With Us co-star, saying, "Careful where you put your hand, she's 90% G-spot." The audience, stunned, the internet, all over it. Many saw it as a direct dig at Justin over recent workplace concerns, and let's just say, it did not land well. To make things messier, this all went down at an event hosted by Ryan's ex-wife, Scarlett. Yeah, layers on layers of drama. Some called it petty, others said it trivialized Blake's own concerns about on-set behavior. The cherry on top? Kevin caught on camera looking deeply unimpressed, turning his reaction into an instant meme. What could have been a legendary night of comedy turned into a full-blown internet debate about personal grudges, professionalism, and whether SNL should come with a drama warning. Blake's latest ad had people asking whether it was satire or just awkward. In 2025, Blake launched a new campaign for her beverage brand, Betty Buzz, and let's just say it fizzled out fast. The ad featured a male model being told to drink up like a dog, while Blake quipped, "We don't test on animals, we test on men."
We don't test on animals. We test on men.
To really drive it home, the guy got a pat on the head, complete with a good boy. Yeah, people had thoughts. Consumer watchdogs and social media users weren't impressed, calling the ad degrading and questioning why Blake, a vocal advocate for gender equality, thought this was the move. The irony was hard to miss. Blake had spoken out about respect in the workplace, yet here she was, flipping the script in a way that didn't quite land. Sales took a noticeable dip, and many expected an apology, or at least some damage control. But Blake, she stayed silent, letting the internet do its thing. At the end of the day, Betty Buzz might be all about balance, but this campaign definitely left a bad aftertaste. Blake's cake choice had people cringing for all the wrong reasons. During an interview with Zoe, Blake shared a quirky parenting moment. She baked a cake shaped like, well, a part of the body typically associated with feeding babies. Her reasoning? He's not old enough to declare what he wants. So this. Harmless joke, right? Not according to the internet. Parenting advocates were not laughing. Many felt it was an odd, unnecessary choice, with some saying it crossed a line. Social media was filled with debates over whether this was just harmless humor or something more questionable. And when people asked Blake for her thoughts on the backlash, she doubled down with, "I'll show you a picture of the cake, not of me." That didn't help. Psychologists even chimed in, warning about potential confusion for her son as he grows up. Meanwhile, the internet was busy asking one big question. Out of all the cake designs in the world, why this one? Blake's fake it till you make it strategy turned into flop it till you drop it. Blake once admitted to pulling some serious strings to land the lead role in the rhythm section. Instead of going through the usual casting process, she managed to slip into a meeting with director Reed under the pretense of discussing another project. Before anyone knew it, she had convinced producers to give her the part, despite not being the original choice or necessarily the best fit. Well, that gamble didn't exactly pay off. When the rhythm section finally hit theaters, it was a disaster. It tanked at the box office, pulled in a brutal 28% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and left Paramount with a $30 million loss. Critics tore the film apart, and insiders whispered that Blake's behind-the-scenes influence might have done more harm than good. After this mess, industry bigwigs became a little more hesitant about giving Blake too much creative control. Safe to say that Hollywood producers probably started locking their meeting rooms a little tighter after this one. Blake turned a simple "congrats" into an interrogation. During a 2024 interview, Blake's reaction to a pregnancy comment left the audience shifting in their seats. When the host casually congratulated her, she shot back, "What makes you say that? The shark told you?" A response so sharp it could have popped a baby shower balloon.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
The moment instantly went viral, with viewers torn between cringing and wondering if they had missed some inside joke. But she wasn't done. In another interview, when asked about handling 4 kids, she quipped, "You can have my 4th child for me." Some laughed, but many felt the joke landed awkwardly, especially given her advocacy for women supporting women. Instead of fostering open discussions about motherhood, critics argued she was using it as a way to put interviewers on the spot. Blake's brand has always been polished and poised, but these moments made her seem a little too ready to pounce. Maybe next time, a simple thank you would work better than a full-blown press conference cross-examination. Turns out the real drama on Gossip Girl wasn't just scripted. In 2025, a YouTube deep dive resurfaced clips of Blake's questionable behavior toward her co-star Leighton. One moment in particular had fans in disbelief. During an interview, Leighton started opening up about her tough childhood, only for Blake to cut in with, "Let me stop you right there, they were in prison, yes?" The room fell silent, and Leighton's forced smile wasn't fooling anyone.
Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Fans quickly pieced together other instances where Blake seemed to undermine or overshadow Leighton, from backhanded compliments to moments where she dismissed her co-star's thoughts entirely.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
The compilation ignited heated debates, with some defending Blake as just joking and others calling it outright mean-spirited. Leighton, who has always been low-key about her Gossip Girl days, never directly addressed the rumors. But her reluctance to reminisce about the show suddenly made a lot more sense. Blake, on the other hand, stayed silent. But the internet never forgets, especially when it comes to potential real-life Blair Waldorf behavior. Nothing says self-made like a little bribery. In a resurfaced interview, Blake casually admitted that her dad once bribed a choir director to give her the lead role, despite her own words. "I can't sing or dance to save my life."
Parents had paid the show choir director to put me in the choir, because I can't sing or dance to save my life.
She laughed it off, but the internet? Not so much. Fans were quick to point out the irony of Blake, who built a career off a golden ticket, joking about getting a free pass. Her follow-up comment, "Even as an adult, I still can't get over my privilege," didn't help. Instead of a moment of self-awareness, it came off as an oblivious flex. While some chalked it up to classic Hollywood nepotism, others saw it as a slap in the face to people who actually have to work for opportunities. The backlash wasn't just about the confession, it was about how casually she said it, like privilege was just a quirky personality trait. Moral of the story? Maybe don't brag about skipping the line when everyone else is stuck waiting. Blake Lively also laughed at her friend's divorce. Yikes! During the promotion of Deadpool 3, Ryan's character took a dig at Wolverine's divorce, a not-so-subtle reference to Hugh Jackman's real-life split from Deborah Lee Furness. While some laughed it off, many saw it as a cheap shot at a personal matter that had nothing to do with the film. Blake didn't help matters. At a red carpet event, when asked about the joke, she smirked and said, "Well, it's Deadpool. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?" That did not go over well. Fans pointed out that she and Ryan had been close with Hugh and Deborah Lee for years, making the joke feel less like comedy and more like betrayal. While Deadpool thrives on irreverence, this moment blurred the line between playful roasting and insensitivity. Critics slammed the couple for using a friend's heartbreak as material, arguing that there's a difference between edgy humor and punching down. Lesson learned? Maybe next time, leave real-life divorces out of the script. Blake Lively demanded 2.5 years of Justin Baldoni's phone records without relevance. In a legal feud that felt more like a messy breakup than a lawsuit, Blake demanded 2.5 years of Justin Baldoni's phone records, way beyond the timeline of their actual work together. Legal experts didn't hold back, calling it an unnecessary fishing expedition. The drama started after It Ends With Us faced a chaotic press tour. Whispers circulated that Blake and Justin clashed behind the scenes, but things took a turn when Blake filed a lawsuit, hinting at behind-the-scenes inappropriate behavior. Justin clapped back with a countersuit, accusing her of exaggerating claims to ruin his career. He even suggested the lawsuit was more about revenge than justice. When Blake's over-the-top legal demands were revealed, public opinion shifted. Fans questioned why she needed 2.5 years of records if the issues were recent. Instead of painting Justin as the bad guy, the lawsuit ended up making her look vindictive. At this point, she might as well have asked for his childhood diary too.
From calling her coworkers monkeys, going to prison, and mocking British royalty, let's get into Blake Lively's most embarrassing moments. First up, Blake Lively went to prison. Let me elaborate. She went to Disney prison. If you didn't know that existed, well, now you do. On The Late Show with David Letterman, Lively made a bombshell revelation from one of her visits to Disneyland as a kid. The actress revealed revealed that her mother, Elaine Lively, used to take her to Disneyland like twice a week after school. She shared that during one of her visits, her and her brother tried a little trick that got them banned. She said, you know, you get a stamp when you leave the park, and if you spray like hairspray on it, you can actually transfer it to someone else's hand. So in the parking lot, he went up to somebody and said, hey, can we spray hairspray on your hand and transfer it? Then we go through and they say, excuse me, can you come with me? And I'm like 6 years old, and my brother says, no matter what they say, do not confess. I will not admit that we did this. So, you know, he was a professional felon. That's what she said. Now, this little trick got her in trouble, leaving, you know, Blake Lively to visit Disney's prison. And not just that, the actress was even banned from visiting Disneyland for like a year. She then continued to explain, saying, so we go downstairs in Disneyland, it's all white rooms, everyone is dressed in all white, the furniture is all white, and they just interrogated us. It was really scary and traumatizing. It's interesting because they spend billions and billions of dollars building a wonderland for kids, and then they're stunned and surprised that kids would want to sneak in. So as we see, you know, she learned to lie at a very early age, so that's interesting. Next, we have the most awkward and embarrassing interview like ever. Norwegian journalist Kirsti Flaw uploaded to YouTube an interview she had done with Lively and actor Parker Posey while they were promoting their film Cafe Society. The video is titled The Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job and has gained like over 6 million views. The clip actually begins with the journalist telling Lively, who was pregnant at the time, congrats on your little bump. Lively then replies back with the same, congrats on your little bump. When Flaw asks the actress about, you know, their wardrobes in the film, Lively says to Parker, everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes. Flaw then replies, I would. Lively continues to carry on the conversation with her co-star about the men's clothing in the movie, and at the end of the interview, Posey appears to roll her eyes at Flaw. In her caption, Flaw offered the following reflection, saying, is it not okay to congratulate someone on their pregnancy or to ask another woman about costume she is wearing in a film? The interview generated a lot of buzz in the comment section, with, you know, YouTube users calling Lively's behavior rude and just passive aggressive. Now, the chatter carried over to other social media platforms as well, and while some people criticized Lively for her, you know, responses, others defended Lively for being subjected to questions about her pregnancy and appearance. Flaw would later reveal just how hurtful, you know, Blake's response was to her, because she can't in fact actually conceive children of her own. She said, you know, her comment left me almost paralyzed. To be honest, it hurts because I obviously wasn't pregnant and I could never get pregnant. So to me, that comment was like a bullet. I don't know how to react. I felt very uncomfortable throughout the interview, and all I wanted to do was leave and get out of there as fast as I could, basically. She continued to say, I felt belittled and ignored, and it made me question if I ever wanted to do these types of interviews again. Amidst all the recent drama and lawsuits going on with Blake, the video has again resurfaced, and people are calling Blake, you know, like the ultimate mean girl and just nasty for the way that she conducted herself. One person said, this is a classic high school bullying method, acting like you totally click with your bestie right in front of the third wheel to make them feel as excluded and ostracized, you know, and rejected as possible. With another person adding, if these two women can do this to a professional reporter in front of a camera that is filming them, imagine how they treat other professional staff and just ordinary people without cameras. Next up, hey, remember when Blake and Ryan got married on a plantation? Well, Blake Lively also admitted to doing blackface. A resurfaced MTV interview from 2006 with the cast from the movie Accepted shows a pre-nose job Blake openly admitting to doing blackface. Blake Lively and Justin Long were talking about, you know, anecdotes that made them geeky in high school. Blake goes on, actually, she literally just cuts Justin off so she can like urgently tell this very embarrassing racist story, and basically admitted that she wore a lot of bronzer and wore an afro to stalk and impress her high school crushes. She said, my best friend and I, when we were like in 10th grade, had like crazy crushes. We drive around like stalking these guys. We decided one night to go to the arcade where they were, and I put bronzer all over myself and like a Scary Spice afro so they would think I was like a black girl so I could stalk them, and my friend dressed up as this goth girl and we literally sat outside their houses. Justin Long then says, so that makes you sweet and charming. You're still hot. Of course, now that this clip has, been brought back from the grave, social media is in a frenzy. One person on X said, how does bronzing your skin, to look black as well as putting on an afro wig constitute geek? With another person saying, so you just did blackface and thought it was cute. Blake has not commented on this, of course, but she and Ryan did previously apologize for having their wedding at Boone Hall, the former plantation in South Carolina. All right. Next up, Blake Lively mocked the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton's health. After Kate went public with her cancer diagnosis, Blake Lively did apologize basically for her beverage line's recent ad that poked fun at the Photoshop drama involving Kate. Back when it happened, Blake Lively posted to Instagram announcing new flavors for her Betty Buzz and Betty Booze beverages. Now, the carousel showed, 7 images of the new products, but the first is very obviously heavily edited and seemingly, alluded to the Princess of Wales photo editing controversy. Now, in the ad, Lively is basically seated poolside in the first image, but several things appear to be manipulated. The pool and the chair she's sitting in are completely warped. Her hands are from 2 different people. Her body appears unnaturally positioned, and lemons and drink cans are plopped randomly throughout the scene. This obvious editing in Lively's photo is by design rather than mistake, unlike in Kate's Mother's Day photo. Now, amid photo agency, retractions and questions about the royals, whereabouts post-abdominal surgery, Kensington Palace released an apology from the princess in which she wrote, like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. Lively's post has since, of course, been deleted, and she then shared a statement to Instagram saying, I made a silly post around the Photoshop fail frenzy, and oh man, that post has me mortified today. I'm sorry, sending love and well wishes to all, always. Now, despite apologizing, people were still left with a very bad taste in their mouths, and her comment section was filled with people criticizing her. One person wrote very, disappointed, saying, I never would have thought Blake would go low like this. Talk about women empowerment. Such a shame to see this. With another person saying, nothing like kicking another woman when she's down. Blake Lively is actually horrible in interviews and press tours, but this one Resurfaced clip has her even further under fire after she made cruel and very inappropriate jokes about her Gossip Girl co-stars, and in particular Leighton Meester. Now, in the video that, was taken from an undated, panel discussion, the actress makes a remark about, Leighton being born in prison. While sitting next to her, Blake declares, well, some of us started in a cage. As she literally delivers, this savage joke, she waves her hand in Leighton's direction. Now, after her quip falls to, amuse the audience, Blake adds, come on, it was a joke. Leighton was born, while her mother, Constance, was incarcerated and was raised up by her grandmother until she was released in 1995. Constance was actually convicted in 1985 on contraband trade charges and served 10 years in a Texas state prison for her involvement in a smuggling ring that brought large quantities of that green stuff to the US from Jamaica. Now, you'd think she would be quiet after that comment, right? Nope, she doubles down and says another promise was no pet monkey. Lively was referring to Westwick's character Chuck Bass, who in the book has a pet monkey. She said Chuck has a pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be a part of, this show, but I can't act with a monkey. Laughing, she then turned, quickly over and gestured to her left where her co-stars were sitting, and then she said, well, I got a few of them. The remark, earned immediate laughter from the audience, and Lively insisted she was just joking. Meester, who was dressed in a bright yellow dress, looked unamused by the jab again as she kind of scrunched her face at Lively, and other Gossip Girl co-stars Chase Crawford and Penn Badgley failed to crack a smile as well, and instead they looked down at the stage floor, again with Blake saying, come on, it was a joke. So is everything a joke to this woman? I guess so, when, it's at the expense of other people. She also made another jab at Leighton saying, everyone knows blondes are nicer. Well, joke is on Blake this time because Leighton is a natural blonde and only dyed her hair to play the role of Blair. Now, please believe me when I tell you there's much, much more. She has undoubtedly been destroying her own reputation for years. It's just only now that everything is getting, brought back into the spotlight.
These Blake Lively co-stars are finally breaking their silence on her diva behavior. Armie Hammer's silence spilled more tea than his words ever could. Armie Hammer's 2017 appearance on Watch What Happens Live sparked a a firestorm when he hesitated to name the biggest diva on Gossip Girl. His pause was louder than words, fueling speculation about Blake Lively. Hammer described filming as tough, which only added to the intrigue. When asked about his on-screen love interest, he reluctantly mentioned Lively, prompting Chelsea Handler to quip, "Sounds like she was the problem." Hammer's awkward laugh and raised eyebrows left viewers convinced he was hinting at Lively's behavior. This resurfaced clip has reignited rumors amid Lively's legal drama with It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni. Hammer's diplomatic dodging cemented the notion that working with Lively might not be as glamorous as her Upper East Side persona suggests. The internet's interpretation: if someone dodges a question that hard, there's usually drama they'd rather not discuss. Blake and Leighton were besties on screen, but off-screen, not so much. The on-screen friendship between Blake Lively and Leighton Meester on Gossip Girl was starkly different from their off-screen dynamic. Rumors persisted that they were not close, with some sources claiming they barely spoke on set. Their co-stars reportedly felt pressured to choose sides, highlighting the tension between them. Executive producer Joshua Safran confirmed they were not friends, describing Lively as outgoing and Meester as more reserved. A resurfaced clip showed Lively making a joke at Meester's expense, further fueling speculation about their relationship. Meester not following Lively on social media is often seen as a public statement of their distance. Despite never directly addressing the rumors, their actions suggest a strained relationship. The drama has resurfaced amid Lively's legal issues with It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni, leading fans to question her behavior with past co-stars. Penn and Blake went from lovers to co-stars to complete radio silence. Penn Badgley and Blake Lively's on-again, off-again romance captivated Gossip Girl fans, but their breakup seemed to end any potential friendship. Like Leighton Meester, Badgley doesn't follow Lively on Instagram, a notable absence in the digital age. Despite speaking warmly about other Gossip Girl cast members, Badgley remains silent on public praise for Lively. This silence is intriguing, especially considering his positive comments about others. While Badgley has credited Lively with helping him avoid personal struggles during their relationship, his lack of public admiration suggests a complicated past. Their breakup was followed by Lively's marriage to Ryan Reynolds and Badgley's marriage to Domino Kirk. The absence of a public friendship or mutual social media following fuels speculation about what might have happened behind the scenes, leaving fans to wonder if it was simply an ex thing or something more. Anna and Blake's A Simple Favor duo wasn't so simple behind the scenes. Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively were the ultimate stylish duo in A Simple Favor, but behind the scenes, not so much. Rumors swirled that by the time filming wrapped, these two couldn't stand each other. An insider claimed their personalities just didn't click, turning the whole experience into a get me out of here situation. By the time the press tour rolled around, the tension was impossible to ignore. Fans noticed how they rarely interacted, and their interviews together felt stiff at best. Neither Kendrick nor Lively ever directly addressed the rumors, but the lack of friendly banter or any public admiration spoke volumes. In an industry where fake smiles are part of the job, these two didn't even bother pretending. Some believe it was just clashing personalities, while others suspect something deeper went down. Either way, the awkwardness between them hasn't been forgotten, and with Lively's current drama making headlines, fans are revisiting this Hollywood Cold War with fresh curiosity. Blake and Justin's on-screen romance turned into a real-life legal showdown. Things got even messier when It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni's team accused Blake Lively of being difficult on set. Reports claimed that she made filming tense, creating a challenging work environment, but Lively wasn't staying quiet. She fired back with a lawsuit, alleging that he was the real problem. Suddenly, what seemed like an on-set clash turned into a full-blown legal battle. In Hollywood, drama is one thing, but when lawsuits start flying, you know it's serious. With both sides throwing accusations, the truth remains murky, and fans are left speculating about what really went down. Was it just clashing personalities, or was there something bigger brewing behind the scenes? Either way, this isn't just a minor disagreement over coffee orders. It's a feud that could have lasting consequences for both stars. Brandon Sklenar isn't picking sides, except maybe Blake's. Unlike Justin Baldoni, Brandon Sklenar has been firmly in Blake Lively's corner. While he hasn't directly spoken about the alleged on-set drama, he's shown support for her throughout the legal battle. This suggests that whatever happened behind the scenes wasn't a universal experience. Maybe the tension depended on who you were working with, or maybe Sklenar just avoided any conflicts altogether. Unlike others who have fueled speculation, Sklenar has kept things professional professional and neutral, something rare in Hollywood feuds. Whether this means he genuinely had no issues with Lively or is simply staying out of the drama, one thing's clear: he's not adding fuel to the fire. In an industry where loyalty is often up for debate, his quiet show of support speaks volumes. Colleen Hoover isn't just Team Blake, she's the captain. Colleen Hoover, author of It Ends With Us, has publicly supported Blake Lively amid her controversy with Justin Baldoni. Hoover praised Lively as honest, kind, supportive, and patient, which adds an interesting layer to the narrative surrounding Lively's behavior. If Lively were truly as difficult as some claim, it's surprising that Hoover would be so vocal in her defense. This could suggest that people see different sides of Lively, or perhaps some diva claims are exaggerated. Hoover's endorsement significantly boosts Lively's credibility, highlighting the complexity of perceptions about her. Despite later deactivating her Instagram account, Hoover's initial support was a powerful statement in favor of Lively during a challenging time. Paul Feig's experience with Blake Lively was nothing but positive, painting a different picture from the rumors. Paul Feig, director of A Simple Favor and its sequel Another Simple Favor, has consistently praised Blake Lively as professional, kind, and an absolute joy to work with. This contrasts sharply with rumors of tension between Lively and co-star Anna Kendrick. Feig's positive experience might suggest that Lively's behavior varies depending on the person or situation. Perhaps she simply doesn't click with certain co-stars, or maybe Feig's position as director shielded him from any potential conflicts. His support significantly challenges the diva narrative surrounding Lively, highlighting the complexity of her relationships with colleagues. Feig's endorsement is particularly notable given the current legal drama involving Lively and It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni. His defense underscores that perceptions of Lively's behavior can vary widely, and not everyone shares the same experience working with her. Amber Tamblyn, America Ferrera, and Alexis Bledel aren't just co-stars, they're Blake Lively's ride or dies. Through thick and thin, Amber Tamblyn, America Ferrera, and Alexis Bledel have remained loyal to Blake Lively. The sisterhood of the Traveling Pants co-stars have supported her both personally and professionally over the years, and that loyalty hasn't wavered, even during her legal battle with Justin Baldoni. All three publicly backed Lively, showing that their friendship goes beyond the screen. While none of them have addressed the ongoing diva rumors, their continued support speaks volumes. If Lively were truly as difficult to work with as some claim, wouldn't at least one of them have distanced themselves? Instead, they've stood firmly by her side, which raises the question: does Lively's alleged behavior depend on the dynamic she has with certain co-stars? When it comes to Blake Lively, Crawford and Westwick's silence is louder than words. Chase Crawford and Ed Westwick have maintained a curious silence regarding their experiences working with Blake Lively on Gossip Girl. Despite still following her on Instagram, they have neither praised nor criticized her, leaving a void of commentary that speaks volumes. This silence could indicate a neutral experience where neither positive nor negative interactions stood out. Alternatively, it might be a strategic decision to avoid unnecessary drama, especially given the show's complex cast dynamics. Crawford has spoken about the professionalism of the cast, particularly during Blake Lively and Penn Badgley's breakup, stating it caused no drama on set. Their non-response keeps the mystery surrounding Lively's behavior alive, leaving fans to speculate about their true feelings.